Yeehaw.
Hello and welcome everyone to the March 17th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. I'm your host, Caslin Fields. And as a reminder, we do operate under a code of conduct, which basically says to be respectful of your fellow attendees and speakers and generally be excellent to each other. I do have the note stock up here. Let me grab the link to that for the chat. Now, before we dive into our main content, we like to offer an opportunity for anyone who's new on the call to say hello and introduce yourself. You can either unmute or type in the chat, totally optional. But if you would like to say hello and tell us a little about yourself and why you're here, we would love to hear from you. I think I got everyone on the attendance in the doc, but if you want to edit yourself or anything, feel free.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds like we can move into updates, big wins.
So I will say this again, because we were talking about it before the call.
Before we started recording?
Right.
Yeah.
Frederico did an amazing thing last week, putting together the blog post and getting that PR done and out the door. I sat down last Friday realizing that we had to get something out before noon Pacific time. It was like 6:45 my time. It was like, I don't remember, like 3 p.m. hour Frederico time, but like the urgency at that point for me was like getting it done before 5 p.m. Frederico time. And we almost pulled it off, like just a few minutes over. And that was awesome. And if I could give you an award, I would right now. So thank you, Frederico. That was an enormous amount of work. And thank you everyone else that contributed to it. That is comms doing something well, I feel like, right? Like we had so much input on that doc, and having all that knowledge put together and out there in a way that anybody can understand made talking to literally the entire community much easier. So thank you, Frederico, and thank you to everyone that contributed to the registry change blog post.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words. I would, however, say that obviously, I think it was relatively straightforward because we already had done some of the groundwork in terms of the process, right? So the overall mechanism of getting it out the door was already understood by everyone. Also, well, at least I remember Avinash was there helping as well. Others certainly were. At a certain point, we were 20 editing the Google Doc, so it's lots of different persons. And that's it. I think that I do agree that this is the stuff that we're here to do. So it's good that we were able to do it successfully, because I think it's it projects the right image that we want to have as ContribEx comms, right? So helping the community to have access to the information. We did. It was interesting that there are some lessons learned there as well around the need to how to use the tracking boards with others, because at a certain point in time we also have a conflict of tracking boards. Different tracking boards are looking into the same thing, and it's a bit like standards. If you have more than one, then it's
right.
It's either you have one or it doesn't really matter. And it's the same with tracking boards, right? I think that some people were updating their own, we were updating our own, so that's something for us to analyze. Apart from that, so huge thank you to everyone that helped as well.
Yeah, the thing I would like to do in hindsight, once this rolls out over the course of the next week, is I told SIG Katesenfer this morning, you know, like, how do you want to communicate this out? I just asked them, and and Bob, pretty much everyone said, let's just amplify what other people are saying when it happens. So social media, like I'll be on top of that, like, but they'll be sending stuff our way. I will remind them on Monday. I need to set a reminder myself that, ping contributor comms for stuff to get amplified by Kate's contributors. And Caslin, I need to give you the password to the Hachyderm account. The site verification is in, so that's good.
Excellent. We also need to set up some new processes in docs around that, probably.
Yeah,
At least update the existing docs.
Yeah, and I still have, like, I have a lot of stuff to add to various rule books still, so I might add some things in social media around Hachyderm, and kind of like Christoph Blecker brought up a point of Hachyderm's policy around like corporate and open source projects and things like that. And my take on it is X, and somebody else's take on it might be Y, but I will put the conversation that we had into context for social media as to how I think we're in compliance with Hachyderm's policies as opposed to out of compliance.
Okay, sounds good. Update docs.
But back to the original thing, we need to amplify stuff as we see it, like just as ourselves, because we are members of the team. So please, send stuff our way, or, amplify it yourself and I'll catch it, kind of thing. I'll make sure my cloud native list is being watched heavily that day. So yeah, great job. Would really like to run a retrospective because the process is there. How we could tweak it or enhance it or make it, I don't know. For me, Monday, Tuesday last week was stressful. Like, seriously, stressful. So getting through that was good for me personally, but I would like it not to be as stressful, I feel like, right? Because at one point it felt like the weight of the community was sitting on our shoulders, and and it's like we've made these decisions behind the scenes and we haven't told anybody yet. And like getting that process to speed up would be one of my goals of the retrospective. Because we knew Wednesday afternoon what was going to happen. If we could have got comms out on Thursday afternoon, that would have been great.
I think they're still working out some details, but
yeah. And I mean, thank you to everyone that submitted PRs after the fact. Like, that's important. The fact that it like literally took a village to make this happen is a testament to our capabilities as a community, but especially when we focus, have a team around getting messages out the door. We make sure that all the bases are covered. Yeah, we did a really good job. So,
and before our team came about in 2020, Kubernetes didn't have a comms branch. So it's pretty exciting. It was exciting for me to see that during this sensitive change going on in the community, folks were talking about comms helping out. So we are visible and people know that we exist and they appreciate the work that we do now. So that's exciting.
Like I hang out in Kate's SIG infra anyways, just because, it's good for me to know what's going on there. But, the fact that we were called out specifically in their channel to help with something was awesome, right? Like, they knew
Good
who
sign.
to get in touch with, even Dims internally is like, hey, what can contributor comms do? And I was like, let's take it to the Kate Slack, let's talk about it in there. So everybody knows, right? I don't have to have the same conversation 3-4 times. So yeah, it was just a really good job.
Wonderful. Thank you, Federico and Chris and all the folks who contributed to that. Oh, we should probably give some like background for anyone who was not paying attention.
Yeah. I dropped the
to
link
the
in
registry.
in chat here, so
Yeah.
sorry.
So, oh, I thought I put that in here, but I did not, did I?
Oh, my bad.
There it
I
is.
should drop it in the notes.
Yeah. Yes. Hello. um so I put the link in here. If you haven't heard about the registry redirect, definitely read it.
Mhm.
Like we
It
said,
will
this is very, very
impact you in
important.
some way, right? Like
Yeah.
when we think about operators, Helm charts, all the ways to, install, like daemon sets from GitLab, right? Like there's all kinds of stuff that's in code samples and just all over the web that mentions cates.gcr.io. And we can't fix all of it. But I mean, working internally, right? Like it was nice to have my team on board with like, let's get the blog updated with, no mentions of cates.registry.io. It was cool to see that internally too, right? Like there was an understanding between company and community of the urgency of this.
Yeah. We are changing the URL of the registry where we put all of the Kubernetes container images,
And
which is very, very
many
important.
other sub-project images.
Yeah, indeed. So definitely check that out if you haven't heard about it. Very big deal. So we will continue to focus on that over the next week. The redirect that we're talking about in this post. I already had that open. Was beginning on Monday. It's going to be happening throughout next week. It will impact some users, but this is from what I'm hearing. Yeah. Yeah. So case.gcr.io is also going to be frozen. So this is
Mhm.
going to be fairly disruptive for the world. For lots of folks who still use cates.gcr.io. Folks need to switch over to registry.cates. Whatever it is for the good of the project. So it's important that we let folks know that they need to do that. It's very, very important for budgetary reasons. All right. So you also mentioned that we have a Mastodon account now. I also mentioned in the notes here that will be an additional charge on our buffer account. So we were going to work with the CNCF on that. I don't know if you've started yet. Need help?
I would appreciate some help on that one.
Okay. Let me make a note to also ping.
I mean, I think it's already established, right? Like Bob said, like if they used a virtual credit card, they might have set some kind of limit on what it can do every month kind of thing. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. So since it's going to be an increase, we need to let them know if we're going to do that, which we should do that. So we'll need to create some docs also about what the new workflow will be for working with Mastodon. Will be through Buffer, hopefully.
Yeah, and like
I don't know what else we would do.
I'm ready to set up automation as soon as we have the account in Buffer, right? Like there's the order of operations here. And we have a Zapier account that I still don't have access to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll add those notes in. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on Buffer? I think we have like a 1Password or something that we put things into. That might be a Bob question for that one.
It's a Bob question, I know.
Yeah.
But I'll
Isn't
ask
everything
G
a Bob question ultimately?
No, I'll ask GFeed because CNCF's paying for it. How about that?
Yeah. You can try. He'll probably send you back to Bob. That's my guess.
We'll see.
Maybe he'll know. All right. So let's move on into Zapier automation. Atarva? What? Avinash, sorry. I thought I saw Atarva pop up for a second, but he did not. Where did I see that? Anyway, Avinash.
Oh, I think Atharva gave a notice. I mean, he wrote those things and he went maybe that.
Oh,
could be
I
a thing.
see. Atarva Sync. That's why I was like, I swear I just saw the name Atarva. I was like, I thought it was Avinesh. Now it makes sense. Atarva
now-
added these notes in asynchronously. Thank you. So I guess I'll just roll over these unless anyone else has more context than I do, because I don't have much context. Okay. I'll just roll over them, run over them, talk about them, and then we can talk about them more. So Zapier automation updates. Might need a dedicated meeting to discuss more on Zapier automation, to discuss briefly about its behavior. And also it isn't possible to share the Zap if it has the paths functionality, which I don't know what that means. He has a basic layout for the Zap that we want to create. So we were looking at Zapier automation for resolving our issues with GitHub automation for creating tweets. We would like to have a GitHub workflow for members of the contributor community to be able to write tweets and share them with us through a platform that they're already very familiar and working with. So we were going to use Zapier to implement that because there were issues with Twitter Together. And also there's the whole API thing. There's many things to consider with connecting GitHub to our Twitter account. Anyway, so Atarva has a basic layout for the Zap that we want to create. That workflow would be to create a PR within the character limit.
Yeah,
No.
like
There.
how?
What links though?
Right.
So
Like
this was an issue with Twitter Together because Twitter Together limited you to the character limit on Twitter. But Twitter automatically shortens links when you put them in directly on Twitter, which means that you can create much longer tweets with more information in them plus a link than if you have a solid 280 character limit. Because if you do that on Twitter, then it counts the entire link as part of the 280, or if you do that on GitHub, it counts as the 280 characters. So 280 character limit is actually kind of an issue. Because of links.
yeah, that's, and I don't think there's a way to solve that with GitHub or Zapier. That is a big problem.
All
And
right,
thank you
well,
for pointing it out.
that might just be a limitation of the GitHub integration.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
We'll try our best. Beyond that, not scheduled. Wait for approval from owners. Once the approved label is applied, push it to buffer. So there could, I think he's proposing here, there could be two like branches of the workflow. If you just want it to go out whenever,
Yeah.
like as soon as possible, then it would be this not scheduled one. I'm going to put ASAP in parens here. And then scheduled, he says needs some discussion. Author applies a label to schedule it for some date. Once the approved label is applied, push it to schedule in buffer. All right, would love to hear why he's looking at labels for communicating that information to buffer. I think we might have talked about that a
Probably
little bit
because of a
before.
Zapier limitation.
Probably.
This is not a direct, like, one-to-one thing. This is a mutation, and we need certain things on the PR before it actually just gets picked up. It's a lot. And like, I looked at a sample workflow in one of my accounts and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So the fact he has is amazing.
Yeah. And I imagine that like buffer can't see the comments. We could maybe add additional automation for that. But anyway,
So it's not really
it's impressive
buffer.
how
It's actually
complicated this
Zapier.
is.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
actually Zapier pulling in fields from GitHub, and there's no way to say like PR merged actually did something, right? Like that's not a field that you could see, PR status or something like that. So, or maybe he didn't look at that. I don't know, but like there's got to be some limitation he's dealing with. And he can't export the Zap. So like we need to figure out how to like just screenshot it somehow. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Noted that needs some discussion. If something's over the character limit, generate a GitHub comment asking the author to make it within the character limit and loop again to check. It's a good consideration that he worked into that workflow. And he needs help with the doing this part over and over again. Man, this is so challenging. All right, so that's all of the notes that Atarva left for us on the Zapier automation specifically. Any questions, comments, discussion that we want to have about this at this point, granted that Atarva isn't here?
I'm just going to tag him and say, can you screenshot it? I can recommend some tools if you need to.
Cool. We should also probably ping him in the Slack and let him know about the character limit issue.
Yeah.
Links. They're very important, but also problematic, as are many other things.
Mhm.
So we'll move on from that to new items. Tarva also added one thing there. Should we get a banner like Kubernetes.io on Kades.dev to warn about the registry redirect? I think we
So-
talked about, can we do a banner on
We did
the
talk
dev
about it,
site? I thought we said we
and
could.
we could. However, remember I said I don't want to be the only Hugo person on the team.
Yeah. And we're also having issues with that right now, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Bob has turned sour on Hugo, I think. I mean, not
Well,
sour, but like from his personal
reasons.
perspective, like he sees problems with like keeping it up to date and all those things, and just like the release velocity of Hugo, and
Yeah.
it's like in version
Kubernetes complaining about release velocity?
0.111, right? Like it changes every week, and that's fine, but changes could break your themes in weird way. Changes could break short codes in weird ways. So there's no guarantees. It's difficult, right? Like,
And he was saying before that we have a fork of Hugo. So we have like custom stuff going on with our site.
Mhm.
And there's been an update to Hugo, I think it was, where it breaks our fork.
Yep.
So we need to update because updates are important, but we can't because our stuff won't work anymore.
Right.
Ooh, who's ever heard that situation before?
It's
We never do that to people here at Kubernetes.
it's funny we get to deal with the same thing though.
Yeah,
Like,
we do. So there's also work to be done on Kubernetes .dev if folks want to work on that and become Hugo
think-
experts or whatever it is we're going to change to if we can't figure that out.
right. Frederico, I think you and I said we were going to team up and do it, but then this registry change
Yeah.
happened, and yeah.
Yeah, but I'm open to it. So it's,
I'm open to it as well.
Yeah.
Like just, from a teaching perspective, because we can just use the example from the Case.io site and kind of import it in. Yeah, I mean, Hugo's not hard, but our Hugo is a little bit harder. Once you wrap your mind around the headless part of it, it's kind of easier in general.
Just adding this to the notes. There's a new version of Hugo which breaks the fork we created to run
And
Kades.dev.
there was either, yeah, I saw an issue or a PR to update that. One or the other. I'll find it somewhere. Where was it? The community repo, probably.
We need to either get our fork in compliance with the new version so we can upgrade, or change things up completely. Oh, I forgot to turn off the cat's regular breakfast feeding time because I fed them extra this morning. So I guess they just get a really big breakfast.
All right. Go
Whoops.
cats.
The kitten needs it. The adult does not.
Mm.
Anyway, apologies for talking about cats.
Yes, there is a Hugo version bump from PR.
Yeah.
So
Version, I think they said like version 10 or something.
110, yeah. Let
Okay.
me put it in the notes.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. This does break the site a bit.
Yeah.
If it's only a bit, it doesn't necessarily mean that the fix will only be small, but if you are interested in working on that, definitely check that out.
Now, keep in mind that PR is to update to version 110. There's already a 111.2, I think. And yeah, like to give you some idea of the insane release velocity of Hugo. What's the
Maybe
latest?
sounds like something else. I hear customers complaining
111.3 is
about.
out as of 5 days ago. My God. Like I've got to go update sites now.
My website is WordPress.
I'm almost to that point, right? Like
It has its own annoyances, but
I know, but like
get
I
used to
don't
it.
have to deal with it, right? Like a
yeah.
hosted, I'm not hosting it myself, so I don't have to maintain it. Like that or Ghost, and I don't know what content conversion looks like for Ghost.
Indeed. Cool. So that is all the stuff that we had in our daily notes, now at 32 minutes past. Are there any other new items or updates, big wins that folks want to talk about before we move into the board? Also the table, unfortunately, but mainly the board. Sounds like no. Also a reminder that because I didn't say it earlier and I remembered it and I feel bad for not saying it. If there are new folks on the call, if you want to introduce yourself, you're welcome to do so at any time. Also, we can bring up any of this stuff at any time because we are chill here. All right, let's go to the board. Still excited about that. We still need to move a bunch of stuff over here, but
Yeah.
it's a process. Everything is slow. That's how we
It's a
do.
fact. Yeah.
All right. So let's start with in progress. Do at the end. So in progress items, I assume that any of the blogging stuff has not really moved while we've been working on the registry stuff, but
Yeah, not much. Although I've had a quick update on the SIG architecture one, additional discussion about a new focus of it. So instead of asking it directly interviewing the SIG shares, it was proposed that the focus goes into the project leads that do apparently much of the work there. So there's a change, and with that change, I'm rewording the questions, and that was the extent of my work on this during this week.
And which one was that on again? Was that the architecture
SIG
one?
architecture. SIG architecture.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Like I said, I think we talked about that a little bit before, and our process at least used to be just like go into the Slack for that SIG and ask who the right people are to interview. And it always ended up being the chairs, but there's no rule that it's supposed to be the chairs. Just always has happened to be. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see not the chairs on one of them.
Mhm.
Curious to see how that'll change things.
I'm going to update the issue in this one with this information, because as you remember, I'm also test driving the idea of creating issues. Around this instead of drafts, and this one is the only one that has a real issue, so it makes sense to use it also to update the information.
All right, sounds good. There are also a couple of other SIG spotlights in the works. We have Sujay here. I know you were trying to work on one of those. Do you have any progress on the SIG networking one that we need to add here?
Actually, not much. I was discussing with the the doc with Federico, and he suggested some changes in the doc. So I'll try to reflect those changes within next week and open up the
Okay, wonderful.
But that one is, I think it's very likely the next one to go out. because it's already done, and the review that we did was essentially around just arranging words in a different way. So the content is there, which is typically the hardest part.
Nice. Rocking and a rolling. These can take a while, so it's good that you're moving along. Awesome. So make sure to update this with any notes. If you want to update it with the link to your current draft, if you want additional feedback on that, or just update it with the PR when you have that. Let's make sure to do that. There's also SIG CLI Spotlight, which was Arpit. Arpit, you're on.
Yeah, so I have actually prepared the doc with questions and actually sent to the batch leads. But the thing is, they didn't fill it up yet, so I am waiting for them to get the replies on. Then
Yeah,
I
you
will
might need to
start
ping
working on
them.
the blog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you might
I am
need to.
thinking of pinging them.
Usually takes some pestering. Folks are busy, especially because code freeze just happened. So they've probably got some stuff going on with the release. So they'd probably need a reminder. Good stuff. Wow. Moving right along with so many spotlights right now. So awesome. It's not always that we have so many in progress. So I'm excited to see it. Add all use cases for Zapier information or Zapier automation. Tracking issue for Zapier automation of GitHub to Twitter. So this is related to the stuff that we talked about in the daily notes. If you want to see the issue for that, it is here. Hasn't been updated for 3 weeks. But they were doing some work to remove some of the old issues related to that project. And Imran isn't here. I'm not sure if we need to move that to done or if there's still work that they need to do. Since he worded it as add all use cases, I'm guessing there's still work to be done. What did he describe it as? To address and discuss the ongoing effort. Yeah. So since it's ongoing, I think that's where it should be. Cool. So I'll move into to-dos. I assume all of these spotlights are still things that we should do at some point.
Yeah.
Is that right, Federico? Cool.
Yeah, I think it's useful to have them if we get questions around what can I do, where can I help, where can I start. That list can be just you can pick one of those and just go with it.
Perfect. So if there's anyone new on the call who wants something to do, you could ask to claim one of these spotlights. You would do that by letting Federico know through Slack, probably. Is that the best way to do it?
In our channel, for example.
Yeah.
Maybe I can
In
add that
contributor
information to the draft as well. So in each one of them, say if you want to pick this up, go here and ask.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
So there is work available. KubeCon EU tweet planning. Thank you so much, Sujay, for getting the spreadsheet in order. I haven't actually fully reviewed it, but I did take a quick look at it and it looked good to go. So I'll look at it now. So what Sujay did, thank you very much, is quite a bit of work. I always struggle to get it done in time, is he went through this spreadsheet and added in the time slots for each block. So what we usually do is we tweet about the maintainer track blocks happening at KubeCon as they're happening, to let folks know who are attending the conference, that live talks are about to be happening that might be relevant to contributors. They're not just Kubernetes contributors. The maintainer track block is about any CNCF maintainers, but still relevant to the contributor community. So Sujay went in and put in the times that those blocks are happening and the times that we would like the tweets about those blocks to go out. I also did a draft of one of them. So you can see an example. There are also a ton of examples from previous years. So this is now at the point where we need help. If you would like to help write tweets for KubeCon, there are instructions here that you can always read through. What you'd need to do is claim one of these by putting your Twitter handle, or at least just your name, over here as the owner. And then you would look up that maintainer track block in the schedule and write a tweet about what's going on during that time. We also have stuff for the keynotes. We'll probably end up adding some more stuff in here about like the SIG meet and greet. Oh, it's in here because I wasn't sure when it was, but it is apparently on the 21st. I also need to I'll fix the highlighting here. I usually highlight them according to the day they're going out. So I'll address these later. I can do that now. 20th. I'll make these all green just to make it easier to see which days are where. Awesome. And this one is blue. Cool. So if you'd like to help out with those, that is where that is. Please share with your friends if folks want to get involved with contributing. This is a super lightweight task where you just need to look at the schedule, write a tweet's worth of writing, and add it in here. Any other questions about the KubeCon EU tweets?
Will the tweets be going from our own accounts or from the Kate's accounts?
Kate's contributors is where they will go out from.
Okay,
Yes.
so we need to write a tweet and just update it in the doc.
Exactly. Yes. And then once all of those are updated in the doc, you and I suppose, Sujay, and anyone else who wants to shadow, you could be involved with this process. We'll go through and make sure that all of these are in buffer and scheduled at the appropriate times. This is just to collect all of those, and then we'll do a round of basically review while we put them into buffer. Makes it easier to do so many at once, to just do it through the spreadsheet instead of having people do it directly in buffer, in my opinion.
Yes,
Because here we can tell
it's-
people this is what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not simple
Well,
sometimes.
it's
Yeah, it's weird.
not the worst, but it's not simple either.
You have to kind of wrap your mind around the idea of it. That's all.
Indeed. Which usually takes folks a couple of tries. They're
Which is
like, I want to
yeah,
help.
totally
but what?"
understandable. Yeah, exactly. It's wow. Yeah,
Totally.
something.
No worries there. All right, so I'm going to move that into, oh, I already did. Moved it into in progress. Spread the word. Have folks write tweets. Appreciate your help. I'll move on from that. Registry.kates.io blog on DIMS's tool. Was that included in the new blog post? I haven't actually read through it
It
to
was.
check that. Okay, so
I think we can go
should-
ahead and say that's done.
Done.
There's
Love it.
so much.
Straight
like
from
so
to do to
many,
done.
yeah, so many good examples in that doc. It's great. Like how to find them, how to enforce policy, everything. Right? Like you name it. There was a
I'm gonna say,
solution.
I'm also going to say that registry.kates.io social media is in progress.
Yeah.
I've added so this is an interesting question or topic. We had a draft around the change of registry block, and that's in there in the done part, I think. If you scroll there or something, there's one around the blog post. That's
The
not
FAQ or this one, what you need to know.
This one is the one that I added, which is the actual PR that was opened, right, for the change.
Okay.
But if before this, we already had a draft there. So I've kept both, but maybe when this happens, we should just delete the draft and keep this one, because this one has the actual information. The draft is just a placeholder.
So like in the board, organizing the board items.
In the
This one?
board, somewhere in there, Yeah. You see that it references that exact one, but since that one already exists, I'm not sure if we I've kept it, but it's, I think, something for us to decide. When we use drafts, that will end up
Now
in a
that it's-
PR. Should we keep both or just the merge PR?
I think it depends.
You can keep it like this right now, right?
Yeah, it's whatever works for us. In this case, both of them are in done, so we're basically never going to look at them again anyway, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
And the draft just has information that'll point you here. So if you're looking for something, you can find it.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine for now. And as we go, we might adjust that policy.
Okay.
Thanks for calling that out. Promoting the new contributor workshop content is still in to do because we are still waiting on GitHub workspaces to be worked into that content before we spread it around widely. Comms guidelines for sensitive security topics. It might be a good time to pick up the guidelines for sensitive comms type of work because we're going to probably want to write some more stuff about the registry change and what we learned from that.
Yeah.
Should I add a separate one for that?
I
Could just
don't know.
edit this one, be like sensitive topics.
Well,
Just kind of leave it here.
retrospective on registry, and then this is a separate one. I think that might work. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong.
That makes sense. Retrospective on registry comms. If that's something that we want to do, we should work on getting that together. We'll want to talk with ContribEx more broadly. So many folks were involved with that, about setting up that retro, I think. Cool. So I'll leave that in to do while we try to figure out how we would set that up. And naming update in contributor tweets. I think this is okay. And this one went in like a while ago, right?
Yeah, I think so, right?
I think I mentioned it here because I didn't have the actual PR. But Sujay, I think all of the edits you made about the naming or, oh yeah. I think all of those went in, right? Contributor comms. If I don't find marketing on this page, then, oh,
Just scroll up.
hey,
Yeah, in about.
I see. Do you have a pull request in to fix this or don't know how to fix it? Is this something I need to fix? Looks like I can just fix it. Should I just do that? I don't think this counts as a PR, so I'm just going to do that. Contributor comms, and then someone grab the contributor comms. I think it's just contributor comms, right?
For Slack,
Let's
yeah.
see if this works. For the our GitHub repo name change.
I'm pretty sure that's a label. I could check.
Yep, that link works, so I'm just gonna do that. Should I add topics here? I don't know how much topics matter. Oh, I could add a website. I could add a link to Twitter, Kate's contributor. Grab this link and put it in here. Thank you very much for finding this, Sujay. Did not know that I could update this. Okay. I'm going to save those changes. Haha. Marketing. All right. No more marketing on here. Yay. So thank you, Sujay. We can move that contribution to done. All right. And that is all that I have in the board. We have 10 minutes left to go through the table. Folks, good to move on.
Yeah.
All right. The table is much shorter now than it used to be. Let's see how much of it we can get through.
I haven't done my stuff yet or even moved it to the table. So
Yeah,
Or the
it's a
board.
process.
sorry.
Eventually, this will be obsolete.
Yeah. And like, I really need to prioritize that. I feel like personally.
Yeah.
That's just me.
We were
I
talking
can
about
do
the board
that.
meeting, so- You
yeah,
want to do this
so-
update?
Yeah, I can move on these table items to the board if you want.
That would
Yes,
be great.
please.
Yeah.
Leads generally, please move your items into the board.
And like anything assigned to me can be
Yep.
an issue on the board, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So this first one, I think this is just on the sidelines, deprioritized as we're working on the Zapier stuff. Yeah. Because this is about making sure that we know when there are issues in PRs that we need to know about on GitHub. Kind of on the back burner. Blogging process updates and restarting the Kanban board in progress. Thank you, Frederica. Should I remove this? It's not like there are any particular updates that are going to happen with this.
Well, then
Yeah.
take it out.
I
Yes.
think we delete it. I mean, it's good to talk about, but I think we're good. KubeCon EU tweets is in the board, so I'm going to remove this from the table. Thank you very much, Sujay. Updating the owner's files. I think this finally went in, the last one of these. I don't have the PR on here, but I sent it to you. I'm pretty sure that you got it merged. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Yeah.
I could check that right here because I had contributor tweets up. Where is it? Oh gosh.
Maybe you had it
Okay.
in the Twitter tab.
Well, but
Go
the
back.
contributor tweets repo, I mean.
No. Go back.
Oh.
See if it's there. Like hit the back button
Oh,
in that tab.
right. I see what you mean. No,
No, damn. Oh well. Sorry.
that was not
I
where I,
tried.
did that. I appreciate that. Contributor
tried.
tweets is here. I can get to it from here.
There you go.
What was I looking for? Oh, yes. Who are the owners here? Where is our owners file? Is it updated?
You can just
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
Cool.
Right.
yes.
Yes, definitely. Tarva was not here before, and you should be. And Imran is here. Very good. All right. If we need to make any other updates to owners files, just bring that to attention and we will do our best to make sure that that gets done. But here's another thing to delete from the table. SIGs.yaml needs an upstream marketing text update. Sujay, you also
Pretty
found this one, and I think you contributed it. I think you have at least 2 PRs or issues on GitHub now, right? So you can probably go for org membership now.
Yeah. Like tag me as one of your sponsors.
Same. Go ahead and file that.
Yeah,
you don't-
sure. I will do that.
The process is on kubernetes.dev if you're not familiar. I can get a
Okay, I'll
link.
check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, this one mentions through marketing, but it does not have marketing team in here. So I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So yes, this is done. Oh, that's not the one. Where is it? This one. Delete row. Here's one that I highlighted. Move to board as done. Updating the GitHub team. Did we actually do that?
I thought we did. And thank you, Avinash. That took me a while for me to find for some reason, even though I have it bookmarked.
Got Atarva, Avinash, Chris.
Google works for me.
That's what I should just start doing now. Like I wish browsers lets you search your bookmarks. Like, that's all I want. Like, that's it. Right? Like, just let me do that all the time in every field that I can possibly interact with a bookmark. Don't make me open another page.
If we did update this, I think it needs additional updates. We should probably remove Paris. Maybe
Mm,
Rajula.
is
should
Paris
probably add some new folks.
still? Yeah, Paris pulled out of like the Kubernetes stuff, I thought.
Yeah, pretty much. She's emeritus. I mean, respect, but she doesn't need to be pinged if we start doing
No.
contributor comms team pings.
Yeah. Like the fact she got pinged all last week is probably bad.
Oops, sorry, Paris.
My bad.
Paris came up with the idea for this team and recruited folks to start it. That's how I ended up on this team. Was Paris asked me if I would be part of it. And I
Same.
appreciate that.
Likewise.
But Paris does not want to be part of it because she has moved on. She did a lot of stuff in the project. So her
Yeah.
moving along is a wonderful thing, passing the torch to new folks.
Yeah. The fact that there is a path is testament to the strength of our community.
Yay.
She's working at a higher level
So-
CNCFRE. So yeah, pretty cool.
So actually, let's do this again. Not that I need comments on here. So let's move that into the board, and probably Chris and I should get together to talk
Create an
about
issue.
updating that again.
Yeah, just create an
Okay.
issue, I
Create an
think,
issue is
and
a
put
good
it on
idea.
the board.
Yeah. All right.
Like I said, anything assigned to me is probably an issue.
Comms team issue. All right. I've noted it. Not that it will get done because I did that, but I tried.
Thank you.
Slackbot issues prioritized below Zapier. Updating the repo with role descriptions. This is good for now. I left it here for us to discuss, but since we're moving to the board, I think I'll just delete this and we'll do it ad hoc whenever folks feel that a role is in need of updates. We'll figure that out. This was a note for Imran. He wanted to move this onto the board and mark as a won't fix contributor site updates, but we do have other contributor site stuff that needs updating now. So probably need some stuff on the board for the contributor site Hugo stuff. Migration from Katacoda to GitHub code spaces. It's good to keep an eye on, but I think I'm going to remove it from the table.
Yeah, I would, because
Yeah.
we'll get asked to do comms once it's done. I
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Folks know about us now, so we don't need to. We can.
Right. We don't.
they
have
can
to
push to us
necessarily
instead of us
stay on top
pulling.
of things. Yeah. Like, it's not like the early days. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Right. Like when this group first started, for context, right? Like just the fact we existed was hard to get out to people. And last week is kind of, hey, comms, like it felt good.
It did.
We're,
I was amazed
we're
at how
changing
many
from a
times people said
from a
that.
push to a pull model.
Yeah. Ugh.
From a pull to a push model, actually, having other groups push to
Yeah.
us instead of us pull from them.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's Friday, whichever way you want to go.
Hey, indeed. Chris adding updates to documentation. Chris to confirm, then we can remove.
Yeah.
I think we're confirming right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like add it as an issue on the board and I will do it.
Does it need to be an issue on the board? I feel like most of your stuff is in there, but do you want a reminder to check?
No, I need something.
You do. Okay. So you need an issue on this.
Yeah. Like if you make it
Issue.
show up on what is it, Gubernator, like that gets my attention. Gubernator, yeah.
We have 1 minute left. Mark was interested in looking into the idea of a contributor podcast. I think that is a rough idea. I kind of want to remove it from the board and leave it as something floating in the air and see if Mark comes back and talks about it again. So I'm going to delete that. This is just a cool idea. Deprecate this table. Well, on our way. Look at
Mhm.
that. Look at how short that is compared to how it used to be. And it is 9 a.m.
Wonderball.
I'm going to leave this in here until we delete the table.
Yes,
But
please.
well, this one definitely until we delete the table, but also this one just because it's a fun idea and makes me smile. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Bye. Bye, recording people.